Welcome to A Case for the Mondays, the weekly sports debate show that gives you our case on why Mondays aren't so bad. On today's show, we tell you why we hate Kansas, who just had the best week of their life, and who had the worst, and what is Caleb's go-to sitcom for finding the one character he can always count on. It's all right now on A Case for the Mondays. Welcome to the Alleged Show. As always, I am Adam Marino. I never miss, always here. Hailing from a boat somewhere in the Bahamas is Caleb Westra. How was the cruise, Caleb?
Oh, it was horrible. I was in the Bahamas.
All right, nobody
for
cares.
5 days.
Anyway, let's get into our opening case. We got a lot. We got a lot to talk about. So first, we kind of want to start on a little bit of a sad note, and the sad day that Adam Schefter had, because he decided to tweet something that, as far as the insensitivity goes, he tweeted, Dwayne Haskins, a standout at Ohio State before struggling to catch on with Washington and Pittsburgh in the NFL, died this morning when he got hit by a car in South Florida, per his agent Cedric Saunders. Haskins would have turned 25 years old on May 3rd. Bro, really? Like, that's what you tweet?
Yeah, dude.
Don't just say, why couldn't you just say NFL quarterback Dwayne Haskins has passed away after getting, I don't even know.
I just want to know, like, what.
Who hurt you? Who hurt you?
What Dwayne Haskins did to hurt Adam Schefter.
Right.
Like, man, I don't, even if it's my worst enemy, bro, like, if they die, I'm going to pay my respects.
Yeah, you're
me as a Michigan fan, and I love, looking back, I love Dwayne Haskins in the aspect of what he done, and just the power of, he was an athlete, dude. He was phenomenal.
No question.
And people that talk about him, he was a great guy. And you look, he was always having fun. He was a great teammate. He was a leader. I mean, you try being a quarterback in Washington. Just saying.
They didn't even have a team name.
No.
They couldn't even.
The football team. But going into that, so because Adam Schefter screwed up again and again and again in the past few months, so
I wonder about the Tom Brady thing.
well, yeah, whatever. We could get into that another. Dude, I was just going to mention that, but then that's another 40 minutes down the rabbit hole. So Haskins, at his time, at Ohio State,
I didn't realize how good he was until we kind of like really thought back.
See, I did, because this is when Haskins come in 2017. J.T. Barrett goes down with a broken ankle, and Michigan's winning the ball game. They needed one stop. And it's 3rd and like 15. Haskins comes into the game. I'm like, no way this dude's going to get a 3rd and 15. Dude comes in so poised. He throws a strike down the sideline to Fort Wayne famous Austin Mack, and Ohio State wins that ball game. They go on to score and run the score up from there. But
yeah.
Michigan needed to stop. They had a really good defense. That was back with Jabril Peppers.
Right.
And,
they were the real deal.
Yeah, Jordan Lewis. Guys that are making bread in the NFL right now.
I'm trying to break bread.
Break bread.
So, yeah, it was sad to hear. It was just a very awkward way that we found out. Definitely not something that we were excited to see.
No.
And I kind of was wondering how that was going to go in Pittsburgh with just the different quarterbacks they had as far as who was really going to take the reins for Big Ben. But, man, that's going to go a different way now. So, definitely not a good week for those guys.
So, really quick, at Ohio State, he had 373 completions for 5,396 yards, 70% average completion, which is really good, with 54 passing touchdowns. His rushing attempts were 103, and he had 194 rushing yards, which he was not a running quarterback, but averaged almost 2 yards a carry with 4 touchdowns. He ended up winning Big Ten Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year in 2018.
Stud.
And then 2018, he won the Sammy Baugh Trophy, which is is the best quarterback in the country.
Yeah, no, he was no slouch. I always make fun of Ohio State quarterbacks because
they never make it.
They never do anything. We'll
In
see
the
what the
pros.
Bears can do with theirs. But
and he's technically a Georgia quarterback. But but no, Mason Rudolph, Patrick Mahomes, a bunch of Derek Carr. Like, he's in Case Keenum, Sam Bradford, like Landry Jones. He's in a big college. Colt McCoy, Brady Quinn. Like, all these guys are studs in college.
yeah.
And he's right along with them in that mix. Like,
So-
mentioned alongside those guys.
So who will be mentioned in the mix now moving forward, talking about golf?
Golf.
Etched in the Green Jackets, a name that not
Yeah.
many people know was actually
No.
ranked number 1 in the world.
And he's younger than me.
And and it was cool, first of all, to see Tiger wearing a red shirt and hitting a golf ball. That's
Yes.
just pretty cool to see.
And
to
we
be
know
honest.
that we didn't expect him to play for him to play. And be in
Right.
it.
I mean, his leg probably looks worse than Alex Smith.
Yeah.
I mean,
Phenomenal story.
that's
Like,
pretty cool.
but not to take light.
And he made 30
From-
grand.
Yes.
So I was talking to my cousin. We were going over like what the purse is, and like if you're 40, he was 47th. So
And he
he
made
made
30
like
grand.
30 grand. Like, cool, bro.
Okay. Like,
Like,
yeah,
you-
what are you going to do with 30 grand? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'd do a lot with 30 grand, but
So anyway, really, the guy who won.
yeah. So from Adam Scheffner to Scotty Scheffler. Scotty Scheffler, 24 or 20, 2014 is when he graduated high school from Highland Park in Dallas, Texas. Now, not many people know. There's 2 studs that have won championships in the last 2 years that graduated together and were best friends. And at the time, they were the highest paid athletes at the same time.
Yeah.
That is Matthew Stafford of the Los Angeles Rams and Clayton Kershaw of the Los Angeles Dodgers. So you're telling me Highland Park now has 3 guys in their school that have won the highest level
Yeah.
ever.
The highest you can. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I think the most impressive is Scheffler because he's so young.
I think it would be more impressive if Scheffler went to high school at the same time that those guys did,
Yeah.
because he'd be like 5 years old. That's impressive.
Yeah.
That would be some Doogie Howser stuff.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. Which Doogie Howser, that name might creep up in our show a little bit later, and I'll explain how.
Oh,
So
I totally know what
you may
I
know the
I
guy
know.
who played Doogie Howser.
Have you met Doogie Howser?
Yeah.
Yeah, am I right?
So
Okay.
So, yeah, basically, a pretty good week for this guy getting that green jacket, and then the other thing that we had to just kind of put a bow on is getting you a pie in the face that will happen this week
that'll happen sometime
because of Kansas, which I did not have and I will never have.
So that's why I hate Kansas.
Because yeah.
Screw you, Bill South.
So I hate Kansas because back in the day when I was in high school, when you do your walk, right?
Yeah.
Like, walk this way. Well, so at my high school, it was a Lutheran high school, and we happened to have that year, which was odd. We happened to have like almost 10 students whose dads were pastors.
Yeah.
And what they did special was their dad got to go up and say a few words.
Yeah.
And so 9 out of 10 students had their fathers get up and say something.
Yours did.
And mine didn't
Good old Larry.
because guess why?
Why?
Oh,
He was in Kansas.
I forgot. I forgot that your dad was a pastor. And guess what team he roots for?
Kansas.
Yeah.
So you held a grudge on that guy the whole time.
I'm talking
And
about the
I love-
whole time.
And I love how Larry didn't say anything. He probably obviously heard.
No,
him.
he
How
didn't
did
even
not?
know.
But
No,
that's
he-
your dad. He's naive sometimes.
What's funny is he didn't know. All of a sudden, all these pastors were getting up and saying something, and he realized, they all have 18-year-old kids.
Yeah.
Geez, so do I. And then
Like,
it was
the
just
same
awkward.
hill.
Yeah, it was just awkward. And really, you just forgot? Okay, cool. Next.
It seems like a nice guy.
Yeah. So I'll never, ever, 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 ever root for Kansas. I don't care if Paul Pierce comes out of there. I don't care if the Morris twins. It don't matter.
Yeah.
So I was not excited that Kansas won. Good riddance.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you this too. That my reason I hate Kansas is because like we have a friend Wade, huge IU fan, so shout out to Wade. And
Weird
he hates Bohannon.
right.
And I have a video which we cannot share with you guys.
Not suitable.
But we'll basically say, freak you, Bohannon. You've been there for 7 freaking years. Well, mine is Perry Ellis.
Yeah.
Because he was 40 years old and the last time he played at Kansas. And when I was in high school in 2013, my senior year, Trey Burke hit the shot heard around the world on Kansas to tie the game up. And, yeah, so I just instantly kind of like was like so adrenaline pumping
that was pretty.
I just hated Kansas just because we beat them. Like, it was one of those things that was like, you brought us to this point. Like, you pushed us to this point. Like, now we're a monster and we took over. So thank you, Kansas, but screw you at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and speaking of shot heard round the world, we had some walk-offs in baseball, which takes us to Casemaker, because I wanted to have Casemaker be, the Giants had a walk-off.
Yeah.
But as far as walk-offs go, there may be a guy who had even a better walk-off that could even be possible for you beer drinkers.
For the beer drinkers, whether it's Miller, Coors, or Bud, it was National Beer Day, opening day. How more American can that get?
Man.
The only American more it could get is if I got pie in the face, because American pie,
Warm apple pie.
Yeah. Baseball beer and apple pie, you know. So, beer day. The Padres are playing Arizona Diamondbacks.
2 teams that I will tell you right now
are looking.
I'll tell you right now, if they fall into the San Andreas Fault and then the Earth closes up, that would be fine.
Not for me.
No, that'd be absolutely
fine. For you,
fine.
maybe, but we're taking the Giants with us. We're
Giants
close enough.
No, you're like, you're coming with
me. We're
me.
close enough. San Francisco is like on the fault line.
Let me tell you something right now. You're a little bit younger than me, and I have to give you some advice. Never let facts get in the way of a good story.
That's true.
So we're not worried about the facts. We're not worried about where
if
the Giants
they don't know the
from.
facts, your story's believable.
Yeah, it makes sense if you don't think about it. So yeah, this guy had a pretty good.
So they're down, and
now it's 4-0.
Yes.
And
2-0. 2-0. 2-0. Bases loaded. So, Padres are kind of like, oh crap. Pass ball goes by. They score a run 2-1. I think there was 2 outs too. And Beer just takes 1 yard on National Beer Day, walk off.
Now it would have been
to win 4-2.
It would have been a grand slam,
but the dude's still home. He's like, screw you.
there was a wild pitch or hit batter.
And the funny thing, we were talking about that. We're like, wouldn't it be cool if it was a grand slam?
Right.
Like, it doesn't matter, but walk off home run or walk off grand slam? Like,
either way,
that sounds cooler.
And just the fact that your last name is Beer, like on
dollar beer in the stadium too.
Yeah,
that day.
Like, talk about epic. Like, we wouldn't feel good as making this show for you, the people. We could not feel right about not having National Beer Day and a guy hitting a game winner with the last name. Like, we wouldn't.
He better get free beer for life.
We would have to cancel the show for being, un-American and just not in tune with Earth. Like, it was Earth's call. It wasn't our call.
Yeah. Can you imagine some random dude, dude in the South, like watching the game, and he's like, Cletus, did you see that? This guy's name's Beer, and he just hit a home run with Beer today.
No. Here's what happened. Can you imagine if this guy hits one out? Yeah.
Cletus, I'll chug all 30 racks of Busch lattes if this dude hits one out.
State law, swear to God.
The next day, the dude was dead because Beer went yard.
Yeah.
The crazy thing that probably happened in America somewhere.
So definitely, he is our case maker to hit a walk-off on opening day, a rookie on Beer Day, last name Beer. Just, I don't care what team he plays for.
Shout out to Clemson. He went to Clemson.
So
from Maryville, Illinois.
So, all right, now we got to get into last week. We had our buddy Kib on the show. Thanks for coming on because
thank you, Kibby.
He had some good juju for us because going into this week we were 4-5, and I explained there was no one more than us who wanted to get that money back for you.
Money.
And look what we did because the Pacers got crushed by Philly. Detroit
Shocker.
Tigers were down. I'm texting Kib, not looking good. He said, long way to go.
Yes.
Long way to go. There we go.
And
they came back and won.
They tied it up. We're in our group message, and I'm like in the shower, but I'm trying to watch the game. So I'm like getting out of the shower because then I'm seeing our messages and stuff. Dude, Javi Baez almost goes yard. Dude catches it at the fence, but it's too late. Runner tags up at third, and they get a walk-off. So he gets the RBI.
Yep.
Tigers win. Kib locks it up.
Yep.
Eat them up, Tigers. Eat them up.
So Tigers win. The Pacers lost. Definitely called that. And then how did we do then on the parlay? So
the pars hit, boys. The pars hit. So the Nets versus the Rockets. Nets won 118-105. Kyrie Irving with 42 points, 6 assists, and 2 steals. The Jazz beat the Thunder 137-101. Hassan Whiteside, 15 points, 11 boards, and 5 blocks. In the final one, the Mavs. Talk about the Mavs. They won 128-78. Luka goes off for 39 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 assists.
Wow.
And one of them would have been a case maker, but
right.
Seth Beer had to ruin that. Because we were talking about that. We're like, oh, yeah, it's Beer. It's got to be this guy.
Yeah, anytime you have a Pixar movie named for you, you got a good case.
Yeah.
But, yep, not today, sir. All right, so, yes, we went undefeated. Congratulations to us.
We are the champions of the week.
So, now we need to keep that momentum going. And what do you have as your lock for the week?
So my lock, my Padres versus your San Diego. Just kidding. That's the Padres. San Francisco. I just can't bring myself to.
Yeah.
San Francisco Giants. And I'm taking the lock with the Padres. That will be tomorrow.
And you, Darvish.
You, Dervish.
Yeah. So
you.
I'm excited to see what happens there.
It'll be a good game.
Yeah.
I just looked at the pitching matchup, and I couldn't take a 1 versus a 4.
Right.
And that's just how it lined up.
No,
you know,
it did
baseball,
line
we
up
see
that
that
way.
here and there.
Opening day was on a Friday for the Giants.
Because now it's going to be a 2 versus our 1 if we play the second game.
Yeah, that's fair. So my pick is going to be against Kibby, who somehow, if you remember, picked the Cleveland Cavaliers to make it to the Final Four of the NBA, the Eastern Conference Championship. So I have them losing already because they play the play-in against the Nets. So I have the Nets on the money line because they're getting 8.5, and that makes me nervous.
Kyrie's locked in.
That makes me nervous, though, on the points, so I will take the money line. It's a lock, though, so put up your house on it. And then we do have our parlay is going to be who? So
April 14th, we have the Dodgers at home against Cincinnati. And then we have
Cincinnati just gave away their whole team. So,
Yes.
I mean, they're just,
Then Friday, which is the 15th.
Yep. Tax day. Get your taxes done.
I did them in January. First time ever. I feel accomplished.
Attaboy.
Giants. So now I can watch the Giants game. Giants at the Guardians, and we're locking the Giants into that one.
I like the pitching matchup in that game. Rondon, new guy coming over from the White Sox, who plays Cleveland all the time last year.
So Rondon's record was 13-5. He's going up against Aaron Savali, who was 12-5. Savali's ERA is 3.84. This was of last year. Rondon at astonishing 2.37. Signed all that money with the Giants.
Yep. Lock it in.
Lock it.
And Savali's 15-19 in his career. I mean, the guy's not.
So before the 12-5, like, he lost everything.
Right.
Like, so he won 3 more games the year before. That was his whole career. Also, Rondon, did he tie the record or did he break the record?
So he tied 12 Ks in his first start
against the Marlins.
Yeah. And he took a no decision, but I mean that's pretty dominant.
But it was a 2-1 game, wasn't it?
Right.
And it was pretty.
And he pitched well. He did.
Yeah. So I mean, I like Rondon. Lock it in. Our last pick in the parlay, we're taking the Minnesota Timberwolves in the play-in game against the Los Angeles Clippers. Timberwolves in 3-point.
Love the way Minnesota plays.
Yes, 3 points per game is at 14.8, and they're number 1 in the country. L.A. as
They're not a college team.
No, they're not.
You said in the country, like the way you would
The
talk
world.
about
They're number 1 in the world. So then Los Angeles Clippers are ranked 13th in the NBA at 12.7 3-pointers per game. But this is the crazy stat. The pace efficiency of the game.
Yeah.
They are at Minnesota's at number 1 with 100.9 average possessions a game. They score. They have a lot of opportunities to score. So if they're down, they know how to get back into games. They're fighters. Their pace is sitting at 98, which is 17th in the league. And yeah, I mean that's all you guys say right there.
Yeah.
We like Minnesota. Sorry to Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, but we haven't heard anything from them all year. And remember when they made that deal, Blockbuster, whatever.
Yeah.
Trash. 2 LA teams will be out of the playoffs this year for the first time in a long time, and I am excited about that.
Yep. Beat LA. So that is our case locks, and that takes us to usually our favorite segment is best case scenario. So you had maybe a rough day at work. You're coming home on the couch, and you want to see your favorite sitcom character. So who is your top 5 for sitcom characters? We had discussed this
Yes.
a few weeks ago. We're excited to actually get into it. I got a couple surprising ones, I think, and then ones that will make complete sense for those of you that know me.
Yeah.
So why don't you give us your number 5?
Okay, so I'm going to give you my number 6 because it was a tie.
Okay. Unprecedented.
And it's because this one show takes over my life, and those of you who know me know. But this show is the second tier to it. Nick Miller and Schmidt from New Girl are sitting at number 6.
Fair. So
and they're funny, and I think they compete. But I am so intertwined in this next show that I have all 5 from that one show.
oh my god.
Yeah.
So all right. So
My millennial showing right now.
yeah. So Nick Miller and Schmidt, okay,
Yeah,
makes sense. Coming in as a tie, equal. They're holding hands
because they're best friends.
as they would. Yeah.
Yes.
Schmidt would be holding his hand, and Nick would be trying to get away.
Yeah.
Like
you, Schmidt.
don't hold my hand, Schmidt.
And Schmidt.
Nick.
Nick, hold my hand. Hold my hand.
All right, then you have all 5.
Yes.
All right. What do you got? What, did you still rank them?
Yeah, I ranked them.
Okay.
All right. Coming in at 5.
Sorry for your ears. Like, go ahead. Their ears are bleeding.
So these guys are tied as well.
Okay.
Because they're just big, funny, goofy guys. But Stanley and Kevin from The Office.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you can't not love those guys. Like, the show wouldn't be the same without those guys.
Right.
It's coming in at 4. I'd have to say the Nard dog, Andy Bernard.
Yeah.
3. This was a tough decision.
But it's all from the same show. How is it that tough?
Because it's such a good show.
Yeah, I am with you.
But 2 and 3 was like this. But I'm gonna have to put Big Tuna, Jim Halpert at 3.
Large tuna.
Large tuna. And number 2, I gotta go with Dwight Schmidt. So
Dwight Schrute.
Schmidt. I got Schmidt.
How about a character of
That's
Dwight
and Schmidt. So if they had a baby, it would be Dwight Schmidt.
Oh my gosh.
It'd be a metrosexual
Yeah,
beet
like-
farmer. Okay.
Lord.
Oh my gosh. Who gave me a microphone?
Yeah.
And number 1, Michael Scott.
Michael Scott. Yeah.
Damn, I love paper like a Michael Scott.
So one of the funniest scenes that explains Michael Scott to me, and you'll remember this, it was over Christmas, and the office got a large Christmas tree to put up, and it was part of the funny aspect of it was way too big, and as soon as they put it up, it went over it just crushed the tiles up there. And so they cut part of it, and then kind of that makes like a smaller tree basically.
Yeah.
And so it's, it's a documentary style, right? So they're kind of asking Michael, what are you going to do? What are you going to do now that you have this small, kind of like Charlie Brown looking tree? And he says, and he's always serious, and he's very thoughtful, and he looks right into the camera, and he says, I'll probably sell it to charity because that's what Christmas is all about. And you're just like, what? Sell it
to charity?
And he's dead serious. Like,
what you gonna do to make our dreams come true?
That's the worst episode ever. Scott's Tots. Oh my gosh.
Oh jeez.
All right, so
feeling uncomfortable.
I see how you went.
And I could probably do maybe we should have done top 5 Office characters and then left them out for the next time.
Right. We may have to incorporate something with The Office at some point. So, all right. Well, so my top 5 was a little bit sporadic as I've watched more TV than you have. So at number 5, I have Joey Tribbiani.
Okay. Friends.
Yep. And I just feel like the way that he was dumb, I can relate. I can relate to
a little bit.
Yeah. So
the way he was good looking, I can relate to.
Yeah. So I'll say that, and then this is gonna throw everyone off, but I grew up watching Nick at Night with my mom, and all those shows were in black and white, and we're talking like Dick Van Dyke and shows like that. And the main one that we watched that I always laughed was I Love Lucy. And Lucille Ball was just she was ahead of her time, and it's not one that gets brought up, but her character was always just crazy, and it paved the way for all these other crazy characters. Like honestly, like Jess in New Girl is a lot like Lucy in her craziness and
not a lot of people know like what Lucille Ball did for TV for women in general.
Exactly,
because women weren't necessary. See, unlike sports, like they did it the right way to put women on. They made her the main character, and her name's in the show. You hear that? You hear that?
Right.
Okay,
We're okay with
I just want.
I see where you went there.
You hear that?
All right. So then, next one is Barney Stinson, who is played by Neil Patrick Harris, who played Doogie Howser. So that's how we said
name? Doogie Howser.
Right. So just the way that he was legend.
Dairy.
Wait for it.
Dairy.
Yeah. Just that character was always just kind of funny, and the way he would always suit up, which a lot of my family members do that, and it's always like weird how he's trying to get people to do that. So that's definitely up there.
You can't hit me with that
one.
So which one's Barney Stinson? Is it Vince or Luigi?
I mean, I don't know. There's too many to know.
Yeah,
that's another list. That's another
top 5 Marinos.
We're doing. Oh my gosh, there's not enough time. All right, so and then I have Nick Miller actually as
2?
And then so I had honorable mention as the entire cast of The Office because I just couldn't.
Pick.
No, the list is only 5. So and my number 1 has to be Cosmo Kramer.
Yep.
So I mean, that's kind of how I went with it. We could make a top 25 list.
Yeah.
And we would still
we could do a show where
out.
we could just like debate So
that's a different debate for another day. There is your best case scenario.
And I'll say this, all yours, like, I literally could put in there, but, like, I just love The Office so much.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate all those guys and what they've done for comedy. Like, laugh my butt off all the time with all of them.
Yeah, that's fair. So, finally, we will state our case on this year's MVP for the NBA. So, I'll just come out and say that mine is Joel Embiid.
Okay.
So, first of all, who's yours?
I'm going to have to go with Nikola Jokic.
All right, so the Joker. So, see, this segment's not going to be that good because
You want me to go Giannis?
no. Here's what I'm saying. I feel like anyone that argues Joel Embiid, it's tough to have enough ammo to argue against. Here's the problem. The Joker is the same exact scenario for me. As far as what am I supposed to say to you to prove my point? So if we just go numbers.
Yep.
So I have Joel Embiid. Nobody averaged more points than Joel Embiid. 30.6, 11.7 rebounds, 4.2 assists, and played in 68 games, started all 68. Field goal percentage just under 500 while shooting 37% from three, which at his size is obviously just is crazy. Averaged a steal per game, a block per game, with only 3 turnovers a game. So the guy completely dominated. There's not much else to say. I think what he's done with having the issue of the Simmons effect and what went on with the team and how he...
But now he's got a James Harden.
And that helps him.
So, I mean, does that make him a better MVP or does that make him more fall a little bit because now he has that dynamic all-star on his team?
I mean, every MVP ever has had maybe not a player like James Harden, but no MVP does it by himself anyway.
No, and I get that, but I was just curious now down the stretch, like when it comes to
Jokic.
No.
But there is no technically down the stretch as far as the MVP is just for the regular season.
I get that.
And
I'm
80%,
saying down the stretch of what people are going to look at in hindsight when they're voting. That's
fair.
more not the rest of the season because
that's fair. So, what do you have for Joker?
So Joker, I mean, he's played and started in every game, 74 games this season. He is just behind at 27.1%. But my main argument is he plays in the West.
Now, that's, yeah. Again, like I said, like I don't have enough ammo to really go against. I mean, both of them. It is interesting, first of all, that we both said a legit center. Like, they are not power forwards.
No.
Like, just because you can shoot the ball, literally every big guy now shoots the ball.
Yeah.
But just because you shoot the ball from the outside doesn't mean you're not a center. They still can absolutely go to work down on the block. I mean, Embiid's footwork is nuts, and so is Joker's. I mean, the dude can score anywhere on the floor. So, which is probably why they're in the running for MVP. They can get it and score it and make a nice pass from literally anywhere on the floor.
Yep.
Right? So, I mean, that makes sense, but I wouldn't be shocked either way, but my MVP this year is Embiid. However, I get that you would say, well, Joker didn't do enough to relinquish it.
Yes, and that's why he's the defending, and usually you see that digression. There was no digression compared to last year.
And I feel like, though, NBA writers don't like to give back-to-back because it's almost like, well, Kobe could have just won it every year. Or, you know what I mean? They could have.
Yeah.
And they're like, we got to give to someone else. So that if any year would be the year to give it to Embiid, it's hard to say this isn't the year.
See, but
that's
is the
my
thing.
that's my argument.
So say the Sixers don't win it, because I'm not saying they're in contention to win it at all. But say they don't win it this year, giving him the MVP, does that push Harden a little bit better now? Like, okay, now I got the MVP player. Like, I like Joel, and I like your pick. So if the top three guys, if Giannis. Yeah, and we even talked about you guys talked about Giannis last week, and I think that's kind of why I went with Jokic.
And any one of those guys, but again, they're all freaking 7 feet tall.
Yeah,
it's just crazy how the NBA is going now. It's not going to be Steph. It's not going to be any of those guys. It's going to be one of those three. We can at least state our case on why one of those three absolutely is going to win the MVP. It'll be interesting to see. It's not going to be out for a little while yet, but so we'll see who comes out on top of the MVP race between.
It'll probably be Giannis, just because we picked him.
Yeah, just because we spent the least amount of time talking about him.
Lock it in, Joker.
So that is going to do it for today's show. We will be back next week. Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube,
TikTok. It's coming along.
Yep. What we'd like to see is what your best case scenario is. So give one for us, for us to discuss.
Maybe, and if it's so good, we might put it on a show and give you a shout out.
Yep. Why not?
All right.
So we're about the people. All right. We will see you.
Be the people.
Next week.